Gigas, what the hell? I've never seen this character ever in my life.
Good evening to everyone there. This is Chrono with another episode of Salt Shakers there. Hello everyone and welcome. Tonight we are going across the ditch and we will have Jabuthehutt and he will be joining us very, very shortly. So don't go away guys, we're just only at the beginning.
Hey, what's up internet? It's Virtual Bacon.
This is Cornova.
Hi, this is Squishy Bob.
Hey, this is NCH.
This is Zazzle.
And you're listening to
The Salt Shaker Podcast.
The Salt Shaker Podcast.
The Salt Shaker Podcast.
The Salt Shaker Podcast.
Welcome to the Super Salt Shaker Podcast. Chrono. Get ready for the next podcast.
What's up everyone, Chrono here. Thank you for tuning in everyone. Like I said before, today we are going across the ditch to our lovely Australian friends there and our players. So tonight I'd like to welcome Jabuthehutt. Hello there, Gabe. If you there.
Yeah, I'm here, Chrono. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How's everything over in Aussie?
It is hot as... I wish it wasn't this hot.
Hot AF, is it?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, man.
Yeah. No, so I can see that you were also tuning into the, into Jamie's sort of little tournament there. Well, how did you find it?
I liked it actually. It's pretty nice. Like it's run well. It's run pretty much similar to the ones that we have here in Australia, run by Yigs. I think it is. Yigs runs them, or Abby. I think Abby is like the second in command when it comes to the PS4 tournaments. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
they run pretty well. They run pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. So, can you say which platform has more players? Is it going to be PC, or is it really PS4 that's still taking the lead?
Ooh, I haven't touched PS4 in a good month or two, man. Like as soon as I got onto PC, I bought a laptop, so now I have two PCs that I can play Tekken on. So, I mean, it'd be both, but honestly, I think PC is better purely because there's no fees that you have to pay other than buying the game.
Yeah, there's
PS4,
no PS Plus or anything like that.
Yeah, PS Plus, man. That was I bought it. I bought it as soon as I bought Tekken 7. I was like, yeah, I'll buy PS Plus because PS4 is like Master Race, and then I was like, oh wait, no, it's really not.
No, cool. So yeah, like basically, I like to just couldn't thank you enough for coming onto the show there. I know that this is kind of new to you. And it is a bit different, sort of talking to guests that are like, that they are just basically sitting in this room on that couch, whereas, you're sort of like, at your house, and there's kind of like a little bit of a lag. So I couldn't thank you enough for volunteering to be on.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem, man. I'm happy to do so. It's been a good experience. I mean, we did a lot of media work over in Korea when we were over there, so. I'm sort of used to being interviewed, but I've not done like a phone interview.
You've got a very
so
good interview voice. That's for
man,
sure.
I try.
You try. You put on that sexy radio voice, is it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it because that way at least you don't get tripped up when you're trying to say stuff. You can always just sound good.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to, I could be here picking my nose or something, and people don't have to see. Which is
man. It works, man. Whatever works.
Yeah. So tell me. So let's just start off with obviously something simple there. The big event that you went to in Korea that's still fresh in your mind. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I've just come back. I came back yesterday from the IeSF tournament. Now that stands for International Esports Federation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the World Championships where they basically get a bunch of players, fly them over, pay for their accommodation and flights and everything, and then we play in this really weirdly run tournament. Which is, I mean, it's a great experience and all, but like the tournament format was okay, I guess. They also play like other games there as well. Like we had CS:GO and we also had League of Legends over there as well. So there was a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of people over there. It was packed for the most part, at least when people were playing or during the opening ceremony and closing ceremony.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what they're doing is they're trying to make a name for esports. Like they invited like a bunch of university professors and stuff who like study sports and the Olympics and work for the Olympic Committee. Yeah, and they just invite them over just to get them to see what it's like to be at an esports event, which really isn't an esports event because it's not really advertised that well. It's not like the ones that you see like BlizzCon or something like that where you have like
absolutely
billions
like,
of people
like the
just
League of
chilling in a
Legend
crowd,
one,
right?
The League of Legend Worlds tournament is always like packed full of people, and we kind of wish that that Tekken was sort of like that, but the thing is that we're such a small community, even international as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the smaller the community, the more closely knit we are, right? Like, I mean, if you think about it, you're talking to me from New Zealand, and I've the only New Zealand players that I've actually met are either the people that have come to Brisbane or Thomas, who went over to the IeSF with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I haven't really met that many people, but we're chatting, we're chilling. and I've made friends with a bunch of like these like what we would call superstars, right, in the Tekken community, but I mean they're not really famous outside of our community.
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
right?
that's the sad thing, like you basically you think that they're great, like Saint, for example. He's a good dude. I mean, he's a really good Tekken player, but if he steps outside of a tournament and goes into like a supermarket or something, nobody really would know who he is, really.
Yeah, exactly. He's like
Yeah.
he's not in the world's eye, but he's in the Tekken world's eye, and that's the main thing. Like he's famous for us, and that's all that matters, right? It's about the passion. It's about people, and it's about the people that you play with. So Saint's a great guy. I had a good couple of nights with him when we went to karaoke after OHN 15.
Yeah.
So it was a good time, man.
I heard that guy knows how to sing. He knows how to party.
Oh man, he knows how to party, man. It's a good time. It's a good time with him.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, how did you do in the, in the competition? I mean, I know that you did mention that you were in the death pool, I guess.
Yeah. And so what was coined as the death pool when we were drawing out the names of who would go into Pool A, Pool B? I think we had 4 pools, right, up to Pool D. I was the first one to draw, being alphabetically the first. In Australia, right?
Yeah.
And then Austria came up, but that was fine. But my pool went Korea, and then Finland's okay. Sweden was okay, but I also had Philippines and also who was it? Thailand. So I had Book, I had Dojin, and I had John Ding playing in the same pool as me.
Who was your first match?
John Ding was my first match, so it was really fun actually playing him first. But after the drawing, you come in the first day at I think we had to start at 9 a.m. right? And I was like, yeah, this will be good. I'll we'll both not be warmed up or whatever. So we had a few muck around games, and it ended up I ended up realizing I was way out of my league at that point. But yeah.
Wow, so
good,
yeah, so basically
fun.
You didn't even get out, you just drowned in the pool.
Yeah, yeah, man. I jumped in and I realized I couldn't swim, so I'm not a very good swimmer outside of the pool, so I jumped into the pool anyway, and it was still a good time.
No, it was too deep for you, was it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was full of sharks as well, so it was
oh no,
slaughterfest. It was good. It was good fun. It was really good fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, as long as you had fun, really, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to play all these superstars, right? What we would coin as superstars. So John Ding, Dojin, Book, right? These guys, you watch them on the Tekken stage, Tekken World Tour. You watch them in international tournaments. You watch them play the best people in the world, and then you come up against them in the pool where it's a round robin, so you're not getting eliminated at all. You're just playing them anyway. So it was a super fun experience, man. It was, I mean, it would have been really good to be top 16, but then I wouldn't have been able to verse all of those people anyway. So I don't know, choose one or the other. Do you want to make top 16, or do you want to verse the best players in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just sort of the mentality that, if you've been playing Tekken for a very, very long time, just like all of us, really, I mean, you sort of just play to win. You're not really there just to, be everyone's best friend or something. I mean, you are at the same time, but, you're really there to win. You're there, it's like I want to compare my skill to this person, and I want to see how I do. So what's best on doing that and that's really, just do a first to 10, I guess.
Yeah. So what we did, because I mean, we were running fast for the entirety of the tournament, right? They thought they were giving us half-hour blocks to do best of 3s. Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but a best of 3 doesn't take half an hour unless people are relatively around the same skill level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any of the pools were really close to that. And even if they were, the matches weren't even taking close to half an hour. So we were pretty much speeding past everything. The judges were having a hard time keeping up with what we were doing. So essentially, we ended up just playing a bunch of casuals while we were waiting and stuff. It was still pretty good.
Well, I mean, casuals are always good. I mean, for me, I don't think that I'm very good at tournaments at all. I just prefer playing casuals with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, casuals are great fun, but I mean, what we did, like when we were playing casuals, it was like semi-serious casuals, right? Like you'd play first to tens or first to fives. Even Nin was the Korean commentator, and he ended up playing a couple of games to the European guys because they were like, "Nah, we can beat Nin, right? We can chill with him and like play with the best." And he literally beat like a team of Europeans like 10-0 every time. It was nuts. I think a couple of people got maybe 1 or 2 games, but he was able to like clear house the entire time.
Wow. Okay, so he still got it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. He's still at the top of his game. I think it's a lot of like the legacy skill and the fundamentals and stuff that he still watches and understands from the game. Being a commentator, right? It's a completely different side of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're losing out on the skill. Like if you still play a little bit, you can then remember what you're actually watching and then play it in the game and then use that knowledge to beat the opponents that come up against you.
Yeah, well, I guess that, that's the reason why a lot of the older players there, have that kind of fundamental skill where, they say, okay, well, I can see that this has, like, that this move has a certain amount of frames, so that means I can punish it with this. So you can't really learn those things sort of overnight.
Yeah. So I always say it, right? Like Tekken rewards legacy skill. Like regardless of if you're good or not, the longer you play, the more you learn. The game is essentially the same as it was in Tekken 3. Like it literally hasn't changed, other than for the fact you have new mechanics and new moves. But those are the only things that have changed. You still sidestep, you still block. All of the like the wave dash mechanics, the movement mechanics, everything is basically the same, other than like a few like cosmetic changes and a few extra bits and pieces here and there, like the bound system in Tekken 6 or like the tailspin system in Tekken 7, right? Like all of that is the same. Rage arts, rage drives and stuff like that. Those are little bits and pieces, but fundamentally the game is exactly the same as it was.
Well, unless you're a quick learner. I mean, take for example, there's a kid here that he was okay at Tekken Tag 2, but in Tekken 7, this is where he sort of excelled, and just based on sort of the amount of hours that he's put in, to the game, he's basically, taking, top 8, and taking prize money and things like that these days. So, it's it all comes down to how much time you put into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, if you think about it, right, legacy skill doesn't necessarily mean like the amount of time that you play over a long period. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that over 10 years you'll have the same experience as somebody that has 10 years of play, right? Because in that 10 years, you could play once a week, while this other person could play 3 times a week, or this other person could play 5 times a week, or the other person could be homeless or whatever and only have a PS4 and a TV and some cans of baked beans and be able to play 24 hours, 7 days a week, or maybe 6 days a week, because you need that 24 hours of sleep anyway. And like that person that's playing that long, if they dedicate themselves to actually getting better at the game, they're obviously going to get better overall in comparison to the person that's only playing like one day a week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's basically where, a lot of training comes in, a lot of labbing and just learning the game. It's also important to sort of, learn while you actually play the game as well. I know that a lot of people just actually play the game only, but, you need to also, learn how to do things or how things work or how the system works, really, to be able to sort of get to a good skill level.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with that. Like, there's a difference between playing in the game and learning the game. And if you learn the game, obviously you're going to get better at the game. But if you just play it, like, there's a lot of people that just sort of chill and play with their friends, right? They button mash or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I'm pretty good because I beat all my friends because I learned the 10-hit combo and my friend doesn't know how to beat the 10-hit combo, right? And then you try the 10-hit combo in like a tournament because you think that you're good, right? And you're just like, oh yeah, this is pretty alright. I can do this 10-hit Yoshimitsu combo. And then the person gets parried like every single time. And you're like, why isn't this working? Why can't I beat this person?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then you learn at that point.
Yeah.
But then it's all dependent on the person. Are they going to get better at that point and be like, oh, I should probably learn more about the game, or will they go back to their friends and be like, yeah, I'll just continue beating them with the 10-hit combos
And
like
that's
Nick does,
Tekken 101,
aka
really.
Scorpion.
Yeah. So let's bring it
Yeah.
back. Let's bring it back a little bit there. So about the tournament in Korea. So you got to meet a lot of people. You made new friends and things like that. So who did you think that you got along with the most in that tournament?
Oh man, there's a couple of people honestly, but I think the European guys were super cool, obviously because they all spoke English and everyone was really friendly and really open to everything. But I think the person that I hung out most with was your boy, Cornova, man.
Oh, true.
Thomas was just chilling with us the entire time. It did help that he was Korean, so he sort of like acted as a translator for the most part when Team Australia were going out and buying ourselves barbecue and stuff. But like Cornova was chill the entire time. He was super nice, and he was definitely one of the people that I hung out with the most. I think the second person that I hung out with the most was Dojin from the Philippines.
Yeah, you said his English was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Dojin, I was actually expecting he looks a lot younger than he is. He's 19, but I thought that his English would be worse than what it was, but it actually ended up being pretty decent. Like, he was able to hold conversations, ask questions, and make a few jokes here and there. But it's really weird. When he laughs, he doesn't actually laugh out loud. He just sort of makes the face that he's laughing, and then sort of is silent. It's really, really strange.
Maybe it's just a cultural thing, I guess.
Yeah,
Do you think
maybe.
it's just a
No, well,
Dojin
look,
thing?
I'm Filipino. I'm Filipino as well, so I know for a fact that Filipinos are really loud when they laugh. So,
Must
so
be
I
him.
don't think. It might just be him. Like his family might be one of the quiet ones, or maybe he's not used to like laughing out loud, so he just tries to stay silent. But I know my family, when they laugh really loud, and it scares me sometimes.
Oh, so okay. No, well, it looks like we've got like you're like what, the second Filipino now in this season of the podcast. So just just a couple of days ago we did have Myvan28, and he's Filipino, and we're just talking about the food and what he's going to be doing when he goes back to the Philippines and things like that. Because unfortunately with him he had to go back. So he didn't want to go back, but it's just the way it is. But
it happens sometimes, man.
Yeah, for sure. So you obviously you said that you're Filipino, but were you born in Australia? Okay.
Yeah, so I was born in Australia, and I've been born and raised in Brisbane my entire life. So I don't know much outside of Brisbane, but like whenever I travel, I think I started traveling interstate at around 18. But internationally, my parents took me everywhere because they wanted me to see the world. So it was good. It was really nice to have those experiences. But yeah, born and raised in Brisbane, but eat like a Filipino. Just eat whatever I see in front of me.
Okay, so basically you don't really have. It doesn't seem like you've got that accent at all, and also the fact is that it just seems like you're just. You're just a typical Aussie person. Yeah, typical Aussie guy.
Yeah. No, I think my parents tried to not let me become one of those Filipino, really hardcore Filipinos. I think the most that they did was make me go to church on Sundays. That was about it. But everything else, Filipino food wasn't a huge thing. My mum loved cooking different meals and stuff rather than cooking Filipino foods. But whenever we went to family gatherings and stuff, always Filipino food.
That's where it is,
plus an extra dish.
Yeah.
It's always in the family gatherings. It's not at home. At home we'd have Italian, we'd have French, because we had a lot of stay-at-home students. We had international students come stay with us every now and again. Right. They would show us what to cook, or they would give us tips on what to eat, and my mum would try to replicate that or try to do something like that. And that was always good because you get a little bit of taste of everything, and mum's cooking got better and better as it went on. I got to taste everything, and then when I decided, when we went to family gatherings, you'd have the homemade Filipino stuff, like Pepsi chicken and stuff, which is chicken
so you get
marinated
the best,
Pepsi.
You get the best, of both worlds, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of many worlds, actually. So, tell me this. So you basically being, you going to this massive tournament and things. How did it all begin? Like, how did you get chosen? Like, which tournament did you go to qualify? And how did you actually, how were you the one of the only people in Australia? Well, you were the only one, to represent Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, how did that all unfold?
Yeah, so I think a few months back, right? They Team Solid, or John and a bunch of the guys from Brisbane, advertised that there was going to be an all-day Tekken tournament at the Jubilee, which is like a bar that we were hosting fortnightly events at, right?
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, it's going to be on a Saturday, and it's going to be like a free trip to Korea as the end prize. I had no idea it was for like this additional tournament, right? They were just like, it's for a prize to Korea, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. I might as well just join that. I've been winning the tournaments recently, and it's been pretty fun. So I went along and found out, obviously, it was for the IeSF. And I was like, I have no idea what this this tournament is. I have no idea what's going on. We didn't get that many details, but I ended up playing all day there and just winning that tournament. So that tournament, I versed Yiggs, your master, right? Your
My
favorite
sensei.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sensei in the world. So I ended up fighting him at the end of the tournament and coming back and winning against him. So that was a really hard fought match, and I thought that was a really, really fun experience, right? Because normally the matches weren't that close in the previous fortnightly events. They were always usually pretty quick, but that match was really, really hard, and I thought, man, I really want to win this trip. So I ended up winning that tournament. It was good. I got the leave off work, and I was super happy. And then I had to fight in a qualifying match against the other people that were being flown to Sydney to fight in this qualifying tournament, right? So the winner of this televised tournament would be the person that goes to Korea.
Right.
So I ended up fighting a person from Sydney, a person from Melbourne, a person from Western Australia in the tournament, which is really interesting because I didn't know Western Australia played Tekken at all until that
What,
day.
you just think that it's all just
"Ooh."
deserts and kangaroos and things like that?
Oh man, yeah. I work. I look at a map fairly frequently, right? And there's 3 cities in Western Australia, and the rest of it is desert. There's nothing in there. So I didn't know people played Tekken. I didn't even know people had PS4s anyway. So the fact that we actually got somebody from Western Australia was sick. And I played at this tournament, right? We had Cruise Control from Sydney, who apparently took it over all of the people YSBs in Sydney. We had Tin from Melbourne,
Right.
because Naveed couldn't come because he was ineligible, even though he won the tournament. Tin Hayes, as he's known online, came and played for Melbourne. And we have had BABMP. I think he said that it stands for "Be All by My Power." It's like a Prince of Tennis reference or something like that. He's like a giant weeb. But
Just like you, is it?
yeah, a little bit, man. But yeah, he ended up also placing it and coming to the Sydney tournament. So we played in Sydney. It was a round robin tournament, which was nice because I've never played a round robin tournament. Well, I have played round robin tournaments before, but they're not that frequent in Brisbane. So I played that, and I ended up winning that, coming out victorious over all 3 opponents on top. So that
How
gave
did
me
that
the
make you
chance.
feel?
I had to work. Man, honestly, it didn't I didn't feel like I had won anything. I think that was the problem. I got in there, I had finished all of my matches, and I was like, cool. And then even the people that were interviewing me, right? Because I got televised. Everything was done by the Australian Esports League. I got televised on Fox, and they were like, "How does it make you feel?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? It's all right." And they were just like, "You decided to go to Korea?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool, eh?" I literally had no emotion at that point because I know, it didn't feel real that I was going to Korea.
When did it start sinking in?
When I arrived at Korea, as I was getting on the plane,
Well, that's a
to
bit
go
too
to
late.
Yeah, I know, right? It would have been a week beforehand because I was like, man, when do I go to Korea? And then a week beforehand, I was like, oh, I leave in a week, and I haven't prepared at all for this game. I haven't prepared for this tournament at all. so I'm gonna get completely wrecked at it, right? So I started playing and I started streaming heaps and watch and letting people like teach me about stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill at this tournament, whatever. But when I actually arrived in Korea, like even throughout the tournament, it didn't feel like I was in Korea, right? Because we've had internationals come to Brisbane, come to Australia before to play a technical tournament. So it felt like a regular tournament to me. But when I got to Korea, it was just like everyone spoke English because it was an international esports federation tournament, right? So they've invited all of these other countries and all of these other continents to come over to Korea or to come over to the place that's hosting the venue.
Yeah.
So when we arrived, we had a chauffeur that spoke English. When we got to the hotel, the person was like, "Here are your cards. This is where you go. This is your room. Make sure you come down at this time." They all spoke in English, and I was like, "This is really nice." Got to my room. I was staying with an Australian, one of the CS:GO guys from the Chiefs, and we had good chats in Australian. When we went out to dinner, we spoke English because we were at a buffet for chicken and beer. Everything was in English, so nothing really felt like Korea unless we were in like a Korean restaurant, and that was when we realized like nobody, like outside of what we're doing, nobody speaks English.
Right. Okay.
And it got really confusing at that point.
Okay then. Well, I mean, if you were in Korea and stuff, I mean, there's got to be, you probably experienced, outside the tournament, anything that's there. Were there any like different things like markets or anything like that you went to?
Oh yeah. So I ended up, because I got knocked out of the tournament, unfortunately, early enough, right? I didn't really worry about it. I got to play some casuals, right, and that was fun. But I think it was on it was the day after the finals. I ended up hanging out with one of my Korean friends. His name is Jisoo, who's also known as Harmony from like a long time ago. He used to play Tekken Crash. He was in one of the Tekken Crash events, which is like a really old like televised Korean tournament. It was super cool back in the day. And we ended up hanging around, and he took me to like the fish markets in Busan.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up having like sashimi because apparently Busan's known for two things, right? Two things and two things alone: soju and fish.
Right.
Like those are the two things. And I've had a lot of soju while I was over there because it was super cheap. But I also had really good fish when I went to the fish markets with Jisoo, because it was just like he took me to this little Korean place that served fresh fish with like weird breeds of fish or whatever, and like fish head soup and just like all these really weird Korean dishes. And I was like, "Ooh, this is really nice." And then he just took me around and walked me around for half of the day, which was really cool. So I got to see some markets. I got to travel to Yongdu-san Park, which is like I think he told me it was Dragon Head Park.
Okay.
And the reason that it's called Dragon Head Park is not because like it looks like a dragon head from when you walk into the park, but when you go out to the top of like Busan Tower, which is like a sightseeing thing, when you look down at the park, it looks like a dragon's head. So that's the reason why it's called that. And that was pretty cool. Like he showed me a bunch of stuff and sort of showed me around the local area of Nampo, which is like the shopping / food district of Busan, which was really nice. Like something that I haven't actually experienced before. In Korea, well, being my first time, obviously.
Yeah, so when you were actually there, I mean, did you get any culture shock at all when you were outside the tournament?
Ooh, outside of the tournament? Really, like, to be honest, I only had, like, a couple of hours of downtime each day, so there wasn't really too much to experience outside of the tournament because we didn't get that much time. I only got a couple of hours. We went to like dinner and stuff when we would walk around, get some lunch, or we would walk around and get some dinner. And even then, whenever we went somewhere, we had someone that could speak Korean. Like Thomas was really nice and hung out with us and helped us do all the translations.
Rare of
so
him. That's the thing.
Yeah, man. Like it felt surreal to be in a place when like in the small restaurants and the small like places that you would eat and stuff, that people couldn't speak Korean. But then we actually hung out with like some of the Korean players as well who were speaking Korean for us as well. And they ended up just like hosting us. Like it was super nice of them to like come out and be like, yeah, we'll order for you, we'll do whatever, we'll buy what we want, and then you can share it because it's really nice. And I was like, man, if we were in Australia, right, and or if we were in a Western country, you'd just be like, just order what you want because everything's in English and you can read it and you can pick out the dishes that you want. Go ahead and do whatever you want. We'll like eat afterwards or we'll eat together. But Korea is like super nice in terms of like being able to share the food and just sort of like everything was like very communal. You would have like a bit of their hot soup, or you would have like the hot pot that was in front of you, Korean barbecue, anything like that was in front of you, and you would just have it all, and it was all that was probably the biggest shock, that people would share food, because I hate sharing food because I love eating. These guys would just share their food and be like, yeah, just try some of this, try some of our soup, and try all these dishes. So that was really cool.
Oh, that's nice then. No, that's always good, just always going to a new country and always experiencing their culture and things like that. Just experiencing the different things and sort of appreciating the scenery, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think because we only had like two main destinations, right? We had the hotel and the international passenger terminal in Busan, which were the two places that we went to the most frequent. We didn't really get to see that much of the scenery, but when my friend, so when Jisoo actually Harmony took me out to actually see a lot of the places, it was the first time that it wasn't night, that we weren't searching for food because we were hungry, and where we could actually relax and just chill because we had just eaten, so we were sort of trying to digest our food as we were walking around and exploring.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time that I actually had a look around, and I was like, man, I'm in a different country, hey. Like, it
finally sunk in.
Yeah, at that point, that was like the second last day of the tournament, right?
Oh, jeez,
like,
come on, man.
Yeah. I know, right? It didn't even... That's because, as I said, everything was in English up until that point. And then I was like, wow, this place is really nice. Like, everything was really beautiful because it was sunny as well. It was chilling at about maybe like 20 degrees or so. It was cool, but it wasn't cold. And you could just like chill, you could walk around, do everything. And because I ended up going up to Yongdusan Park and actually seeing all of the scenery, it was like, man, this place is cool. Like, I mean, I'm in a completely different world in comparison to where I have been previously.
So this is your first time in Korea, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time I'm in Korea.
Oh, okay. So, have you been to any other Asian countries or anything like that, like Japan, China, Hong Kong?
Yeah, I've been to a few. So, I think my first Asian country, obviously, the Philippines. Like, I've been there a couple of times, right? With my family.
Mm-hmm.
Next step up was Malaysia. I've been to Malaysia as well. Didn't really play Tekken in Malaysia. Malaysia was more of like I feel like traveling for a little bit. So that was fun.
Tekken in Philippines.
Yeah, I played Tekken in the Philippines. Yeah, I played Tekken 6. 6.0. No, 6BR. Blind Line Rebellion. Yeah. So this was a long time ago, right? When I was just getting into Tekken. And I played Tekken there. So that was pretty cool. I realized like I was well below the people that I was playing. But it was still a super, super cool experience. I went to Hong Kong as well.
Yeah.
And that was interesting, but it wasn't that bad because it still just seemed like it seemed like I was in, I guess, Sydney, where you would speak English, but they would also speak other languages as well if you couldn't speak English, sort of thing. So it was a very westernized country. And then my favorite place that I like visiting is Japan. I've been to Japan a few times. I was playing a few different tournaments. I've been around the main areas, right? So Tokyo is obviously the place that you arrive and you sort of just chill in for the most part. I traveled to Kyoto as well, to I guess explore the countryside and explore the scenery of Japan, because I know that that's like the old capital. And I went to Osaka as well, for the food and also the Universal Studios down there as well. So I like theme parks and that was one of my favorite trips, actually, going down to Osaka. So I'm doing that again in January.
Oh, that's good. Are you going for EVO Japan as well?
Ooh, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So I'm arriving. Yeah, I'm going to be playing in EVO Japan, which will be really good. because from what I understand, all of the top level Korean players are going as well, so that's going to be really good. As well as obviously the top level Japanese players, because obviously in Japan it's a free tournament. As long as you're in the area, you can go ahead and sign up via smash.gg and just play in this thing. It doesn't matter if you're good, doesn't matter if you're bad. You go there, you play the game, you meet new people, and you have a lot of fun. So I mean, I'm going there. It's a 2-day tournament, right? So you have day 1 and then you have finals on day 2, and I'm gonna be there for both. So it's gonna be good.
Oh, that's cool. So, are there anything else that you're going to be doing in Japan? I mean, love those claw machines.
Man, you know it, right? So arcades are going to be super good. I'm traveling with 2 friends, right, that have never been to Japan before. So I'm going to be acting as like a tour guide. Despite not being able to speak very much Japanese at all, I'm still going to be acting as a tour guide because I've been there frequently. So I get to travel and sort of show them around Akihabara, the Electric City, as everyone calls it, which is a fantastic time. I'm gonna buy some arcade parts while I'm down there, like joystick parts as well. And then we'll actually be going to Osaka as well at the time.
I
so
gotta get that
essentially,
JR
it's
pass.
oh man, yeah. No. Like actually, yeah, I thought about it, right? You can get a 3-day JR pass, which could be worth it, right? Because you get 1 day, you go down to Osaka, and then you come back on the 3rd day after you've gone to Universal Studios and explored that. But I'm going down to Osaka for like 5 days, so I need like I think there's a 5-day pass, or there might be a 7-day pass. But the 7-day pass is a bit expensive, so I was thinking about it. It's like, is it worth me getting a 7-day pass, or should I just get 2 tickets, one single ticket to Osaka and then a single ticket back?
Yeah.
Because I mean that could end up being cheaper, so I have to double check the prices on that. But yeah, either way, it's easy to do it.
True. Okay, well, no, it's definitely good just to talk about your experiences, especially in Japan and things like that. So I guess that Japan is a lot different to Korea and everything like that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, Japan is very much different from Korea in the fact that they speak Japanese and Korea speaks Korean.
I was stating the obvious there,
But no, it's actually not that different in terms of like culture. Like everyone's really friendly, everyone's really respectful, quite nice. Obviously, the layout's a little bit different. They drive on opposite sides of the road. That's about it. Like, there's not really that much difference other than the fact that obviously one's Japanese, one's Korean. Like, those are the main differences.
Okay.
The food is good. The people are nice, and it's just a culture of respect, and that's something that I love when I go over there.
Oh, no, that's good. So, yeah, it's always good just to prepare for your next trip, especially in January there, where the weather over there is a little bit cold. So, definitely good. So, what we're going to do now is we're just all going to go on break. We'll be back very shortly. Just wanted to sort of make a few, just do a few plugs there. So, if you guys aren't doing anything on Saturday, then definitely come to Christmas Damager there. It is going to be a really, really good event. So it's basically going to be a 3-on-3 in both Tekken and Street Fighter there. So if you guys are wanting to play, go find another 2 people to play along with there. I'm pretty sure that they'll welcome you with arms wide open and everything. It is a Christmas event, so it is sort of like a BYO. So if you guys are wanting to drink, please drink sensibly. Don't get too wasted and everything, because, obviously, you're going to ruin it for everyone else if you do. So, that's basically Christmas Damager there. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're not doing anything on Saturday, then I recommend that you come by. So we're going to go on our first break, guys. Don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly. And this is Chrono.
Hey, this is the D-Sam.
This is Pinolicious.
Hey, this is Neil.
Hey, this is Rainbow.
Yo, it's your boy Cupsy, and you're listening to the...
And you're listening to...
That sounds good, man.
Shaker podcast.
Then you're listening
How
to
long
the
are we going
Salt
for?
Shaker Podcast.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This is a new guy, and he's not
It's
very
pretty
good
good.
in terms
Pretty
of
good.
basic. But what can I
There's
say?
some good
He's
questions that you got
spamming
there.
these, unseeable
Pretty
moves,
chill
and
questions.
he was
You got some
beating
good
us,
questions
right?
there, man.
So I was quite pissed, but at the same time, I couldn't say I'm pissed because that would look very bad.
Always. Like that's like the chill part of the
Can you
stream.
tell me, in your honest opinion, in our community, who do you think are the heels, or I should say bad guys?
We're gonna make some enemies with this
No,
one.
you won't.
No.
It's all for fun.
Okay, yeah.
All for fun.
I think maybe Sivio?
Past his interview, you know, in there, answering him, I'm standing there like, so, when was a time when you had to use your creativity to get yourself out of a mess with a customer? And in my head, I'm just like, oh man, I really need shit.
G'day guys, Yigs here. You're listening to Salt Shakers. Stay salty and stay Yigs.
What's up? This is Mia.
Yo, this is Tinkos.
This is Drax.
Hi, this is Milky.
Kia ora, this is Corn Willis, and you're listening to...
And you're listening
to the Salt Shaker Podcast.
And you're listening to Chrono on the Salt Shaker Podcast.
And we're back, guys. Sorry about that. I think that you couldn't hear me, but you could actually hear you, Gabe. So I apologize for that. No, yeah,
nice.
That was really, really awkward. So no, this is the thing. It's new. It's, you know, I've never done a phone interview. It's different. Don't like it that much. But you know, there's nothing much we can do. I don't have the money to fly you over. Okay, so
damn. I was gonna say, like, if you flew me over, man, I'd accept it, man. I'd accept it.
Well, we need to get a very, very generous donator to be able to do that. So, yeah. So,
oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back on topic there. So, you said you started in Tekken 6, yeah?
Yeah. Competitively, I started in Tekken 6. I mean, I was button mashing in Tekken 5. I learned the system in Tekken 5 where, like, I think I actually went out, bought a PlayStation 2, bought Tekken 5. And picked up Jin because I thought Jin was the coolest with his, like, sick hair, like his slick back hair. He was, like, super cool. He shot electrics out of his hands, and I was just like, man, I want to be this edgy guy because he has, like, a hoodie on. And
he
stuff,
is pretty edgy, isn't he?
Man, he's not as edgy anymore. He tucks his hoodie into his jeans, and it's sort of weird. But
I still think he looks cool in this new getup.
I think he looks alright. I wouldn't say he looks cool anymore because, like, it's weird to tuck your hoodie into your jeans. Like, previously he wore like a parka, right? He wore a parka with a hoodie on, and he was like this edgy guy. And his hood was like low and stuff. And he would like look out the side of his hoodie.
I think he looked the best in Tekken 5. That's probably what I think. Like, you know, that tracksuit that he was in.
That one was pretty cool as well. Yeah, Tekken 4 tracksuit was weird. I did like Tekken 5 tracksuit. Tekken 5 tracksuit was pretty cool.
Yeah. So what, you actually main Jin back in Tekken 6, was it?
Well, yeah. So I made a few different characters in Tekken 6. So I started off with Steve, right? Because I was like, man, Steve is cool. He doesn't have any kicks. So he's going to be like a really easy character. Because I didn't know anything about this game, right?
Yep.
Turns out Steve is one of the most complicated characters in the game. So I was like, I should probably drop Steve because I'm not going to get any good with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved on to who did I play? I think around that time, yeah, I did start playing Jin because there was this cool guy named Hazza who played Jin in Brisbane, and I was like, man, Hazza's cool. I'm going to play Jin. So I played Jin, and that was pretty fun. But I think I really settled in with Lars in Tekken 6 because he was like an anime, like. He had spiky hair. He did all these flips in the air and stuff. He had electrics out of his hands.
It looks like he just got out of bed.
Yep. Oh, man. Yeah, that's how every time I get out of bed, but in a suit of armor and stuff. But he had this cool cape and stuff. Like, he was my favorite, man, at the time. He was like, oh, yeah, he's a cool-looking guy.
He was top tier as well.
Yeah, see, I didn't know jack about tier lists, right? I was just like, and he's an anime character. I'm gonna play this guy because everyone else looks really average, and then this guy is like, I've got a cape. Nobody else had a cape in that game, so it was just Lars. So I was like, man, I'm gonna play Lars because he can fly and he has a cape. Like, up forward 3 lightning screw or whatever it's called. He just like flips upside down and like kicks people in the air. It was sick.
Not to mention there was an OP move as well.
Back in the day, right, before anyone realized that it was punishable and you like just wait for his block and then launch it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but the thing is that sometimes, you know, if you try to, with Lars, because I played a bit of Lars back in Tekken 6 days, when he up forward threes, like, sometimes you can't even jab him, because, you know, he's actually crouching when he lands. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Nah, you had to either jab when he was coming down, right? That was the easy float, because he was coming down. You realize he did an up forward three, so you jab him as he comes down, or you just like hop kick him out of the crouch, because you can't block mids when you're crouched. So you do that. Like, once people learned how to do that, I ended up losing a lot.
Yeah, well, what happened for me is that when someone was playing Lars, and he up forward three, so I was playing Raven at the time, and I tried to do a forward three, like, you know, the knee, and that missed completely. I was so pissed off, and
yeah, man. Look, hitboxes in Tekken 6 weird.
Yeah, Tekken 6 was a weird game though.
But I enjoyed it. It was probably one of my favorites. Like Tekken 6 and then Tekken 7 would be my favorites. Tekken Tag was too hard. There were too many characters. You had to learn 2 characters as well. Like, you could play solo, but it wasn't the same.
That's not fun.
Yeah, I know. Like, the game itself was inherently fun. I got to play, like, multiple characters and do whatever, but, like, it wasn't... Like, I wasn't good at it because I had to think about too many things. Like, I'd be low on life and rage, so I'd be like, oh, tag crash every time because I wasn't good at the game.
So, when did you start becoming really good at Tekken in general?
Ooh, okay, so whenever there was a single-player game, I got better at it. So Tekken 6 BR, I came second in some local tournaments. I played pretty okay. I wouldn't say I was good. I was getting lucky because I was playing Lars and it's like top-tier characters, right, at the time. So it made it easier for me to win when I was playing those characters. But I thought I was okay. Tekken Tag came along. I was pretty bad at that, but then Tekken 7 came along again, right? And I think like I was getting okay at the end of Tekken Tag, towards like the last few months before it died out. And then Tekken 7 came along, and I was like, man, Tekken 7 is such a good game, like 7.0. It was really fun. The damage wasn't ridiculous at the time. Had some pretty cool rage arts, and I think around the start of Tekken 7 is when I started like actually understanding how to play Tekken a bit more. So it got me into it, and actually got me better than what I was previously. Like, all of the experience that I had getting beat down in Tekken Tag and getting beat down in Tekken 6 sort of like led me to that moment where I realized that Tekken 7 is going to be my game.
So you basically sort of train to thicken your skin and get yourself ready for Tekken 7.
Oh yeah, man. When you have to verse people like Scorpion, man, like if you verse Scorpion all day, I don't know if you've played him online, but man, it is frustrating playing him. He's just his playstyle is one of the most frustrating that you can come up against, whether online or offline. It's exactly the same. So playing getting my skin thick against that, and then coming into Tekken 7 and realizing that I don't have to deal with that as much anymore, and my reaction's getting slightly better, obviously, when I'm breaking grabs and stuff like that. Sidestepping movement was pretty trash in 7.0. It helped me lead to that moment, and I felt pretty good about it at that point, so it was pretty good.
True. How about playing Yigs? Because basically when I spoke with him today, just after I confirmed that you were coming onto the podcast, and I said, look, mate, can you give me some information about Gabe? What are some of the things? So basically that's where I got the eats a lot of junk food, lifts a lot, and things like that. So with that one there, he basically said that, I don't know if it was him just trolling or something, but he says that, he always loses to me.
Man, look, in more recent months, I've probably lost to a lot more frequently than I should be. But previously, I started climbing to the top early in Tekken 7, and I ended up being able to beat a lot of people in Brisbane, if not everyone in Brisbane at the time. And then for a long period of time, right, every tournament it was always me on top or whatever. And it was getting stale. And then there was this one tournament where I was really keen to win because you would get this cool little glass trophy. I don't know if there was a money prize or whatever, But I was like, man, I want to win this glass trophy. It's gonna look sick on my shelf. So I'd hyped myself up to the point where I was like, I'm gonna win this. And then I come up against Yigs in winners finals, and I'm like, oh yeah, this should be easy. He plays Ling, I play Claudio, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Claudio's got a huge advantage by just hop
pretty
kicking
much,
everything.
everything that because I'm a Ling main. Just the whole just playing Claudio just frustrates the living daylights out of me. It's like, oh, I can't do anything. I'll be in rain down stats. Oh, I get a hop kick. Okay, I'll be in AOP hop kick. Oh, I'll just sidestep. Oh, hop kick. Yeah, everything is hop kick.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I came up against Yigs, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'll play exactly how I normally play. You know what he does? He freaking beats me like 3-0, and I'm like, man, what just happened? Like, how did I lose that? I think it was 3-1 actually, and I was like, man, how did I lose to Ling? I should be in grand finals right now. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna chill by the side. I've still got to wait because winners finals, right? So you just wait until the end of the bracket. And then you get to the top part of the bracket. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll beat whoever I have to beat, and then I'll go back into it, and then I'll win this glass trophy.
Yeah.
So I come up against Raven Boy, and I'm like, oh man, I've beaten Raven Boy before. I can do this. Me, like, obviously thinking I'm this top tier guy that can beat anyone in Brisbane. And I'm like, yeah, this should be easy. And then Raven Boy gives me a run for my money. I'm like, oh man, I'm seriously starting to doubt all of my own skills at this point. So I was like, I should play really carefully. I should be really safe about everything that I use. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to go nuts. So I ended up I think I lost again, 3-2. It was pretty close. But Raven ended up taking it. And I was like, at the end of it, I was like, nah, I'm so done. Like, I put everything down. I was like, I'm just going to stop and just leave. So, but I ended up staying and watching the grand finals, and that was pretty good. No, I didn't get outwardly salty. It was all inward salt. It was it was just like I was just angry on the inside because I was like, I can't believe I lost something where I wanted to win this glass trophy. But then I ended up watching the grand finals, and turns out Yigs was playing a lot better than what he has previously. And then I was like, man, I think Yigs has studied my Claudio gameplay to prevent him from being able to. He did
mention that. He did say that he did spend a lot of time learning Claudio and how to sort of counter him and everything like that. It takes a lot of time, but I guess that once you have the character down, then you can sort of run circles around it.
Yeah, exactly. I think Claudio is one of those characters. The more that you play against him, the worse it gets for the Claudio player, because you can only have so many tricks, right? Up until the point is you've used all 46 of your moves. And you really have to you sort of have to outplay the opponent. If your opponent outplays those 46 of your moves and your setups, then you can't win. It makes it really, really hard. So that was the point where I was like, I'm glad that I lost, but at the same time, I really wanted that trophy.
So who ended up getting the trophy?
Yigs ended up winning the trophy. So your senpai, your mentor, ended up getting the trophy. So
I actually haven't seen a Yigs match in a very long time. I think that
really,
I actually haven't. I haven't actually tuned in or anything like that. I've been quite absent with watching a lot of tournaments and things like that. And I don't really watch it live unless there's a massive group. So
fair.
Yeah. So for me, it's just about. I'm just worried more about the podcast more than anything else, really. just on how it's going to turn out and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that. You're doing your own thing with your podcast, which is great. Love it. It's really good to have a good old yarn with you and sort of chill around. But and obviously the tournaments that we get to watch, there's a lot of people streaming nowadays, right? You've got Zazob, you got Yigs, myself, Abby, Juicy Penguin, and Raven Boy as well. Everyone sort of streams, and it's really good to see Oceania Tekken sort of coming together and actually trying to support each other and get bigger and bigger as time goes on. So it's a really, really good sort of community that we have, and I think all of Oceania should like band together, and we should like host each other. We should try and let it grow, and then show the world what we're made of.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I came up with the podcast, because it is a lot different compared to just streaming and things like that. It's actually sort of boosting the other sort of player and things like that. So sort of getting the community to sort of know who this person is. Maybe he plays like a dick in on Tekken, but really he's a nice guy. It's just things like that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really good is like what you should do is try and get more people doing the telephone conversations. Like it's actually not that bad.
No, it's not.
As long as the other person sort of like knows what to talk about or is able to talk. Like it's gonna be really awkward if you get somebody that doesn't like talk about anything, is sort of just silent, says yes or no as their answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be super awkward if you do that. But if you get somebody that's like super chill, able to hold their own in a conversation, or is able to like bring stuff up, that's gonna make the podcast like super great. And I think more people will tune in. I'm hoping that everyone that's currently tuning in is enjoying themselves as well.
Yeah, true. Oh, well, that like you got some people in the chat there saying if I interview Deoxy, then my perception will not change.
Oh man, I don't know. Oh man, yeah, that can go either way, right? You can either get like really, really dad jokey Deoxy, right, which is what you'd probably hear in like commentary and stuff like that, or you get a guy that just sort of like makes fun of everything and just doesn't really, I guess, it doesn't feel like anything that he says makes sense, but at the same time it does. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, but I mean, it'd be really good if you did get him. Like he'd be a good person to interview. He's been around for a long time. I think he started in like Tekken 2 or something like that. 2,
yeah,
Tekken
well, it
3
looks
or
like he
something.
has been around for a long time. He is an old school player, just like Yiggs, just like
Absolutely, yeah,
just like Zazov, I guess, in a way. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's just part.
Dojin actually started when he was he was 4.
Oh yeah, okay.
Man, that blew my mind. I was like,
he's 19 now, so it's a good 15 years.
Yeah. He started when he was 4. He started competing when he was 12. I was like, man,
sort
what
of
have I
like
been doing with my life? Yeah, AK also started when he was like 13 or so. I think they're around the same age now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was weird. The first thing that I actually heard come out of his mouth was, "College sucks."
Oh no!
That's the first thing that he said.
You should be like, "Stay in school, kid. It'll do you some good."
Yeah, man. Yeah. We all gotta stay in school. Staying in school is for cool kids.
Yep, for sure. Anyway, let's get on. Let's park Tekken. Let's park it for a little bit there. Because basically, I know that all these guys that are like commenting on the chat there is are from Australia. So so basically, I just wanted to get this out there. So, what do you think about the New Zealand accent?
Oh man, like I've grown to love it, man. It's really enjoyable. It's good to hear it. I think I realized that I really enjoyed hearing the accent when I don't know if you've seen it, but I watched the latest Thor movie, right?
Okay.
And I was like, this is like a huge Hollywood production. That's pretty cool, but it's run by a New Zealand director. So
yeah. So you get a lot of references.
Yeah, exactly. And then like what was his name? Like one of the characters in the Thor movie has like this huge New Zealand accent, and I was like,
jeez,
man, I recognize that. Yeah, it just like sort of hit me, and I was like, man, I'm so used to this accent. It's just really weird watching it in the movie, and I was like, this is a good accent.
It's sort of like Rhys Darby.
Yeah. It's sort of just like it. Yeah, it's just weird, man. I loved it though. It was really good. It sort of added to everything, and it just made the entire thing so much better.
Yeah.
But like the New Zealand accent, like I've grown to like know it. I knew a lot of Kiwis back in the day, and like it doesn't really come across to me as strange anymore. Like when I first heard it, I was just like, oh, you have like this weird accent. But I think because it's so close to Australian accents now, like it doesn't really like phase me as much.
Yeah.
If I hear somebody from New Zealand, I'm just like, oh, you're from New Zealand, and I can sort of like pick it and then just be like, yeah, you're cool, you're a pretty chill dude, right? But like if I hear an American accent in person, like that weirds me out because I'm like, you're not on TV. Why are you in front of me? Like it just weirds me out.
It's pretty weird, but also the thing is that you know, so at first you kind of found that the New Zealand twang was pretty, was actually a bit weird, is it?
Yeah. Well, look, to start off, obviously, because I grew up in Australia, I grew up in Brisbane, I had the Filipino accent down pat, like in my memory banks, because obviously my parents are Filipino and my family is all Filipino. So that was normal to me, like Filipino accents and Australian accents, because I went to like this little Australian school here in Brisbane. But then like came up against a New Zealand person, I was like, where are you from? I don't understand what this accent is. And then they explained everything. I was like, oh, I get it. That's a really weird accent. Like it was just, like because I hadn't had that much experience with it, right? Because we don't get that many Australians. At least back when I was younger, we didn't get that many Kiwis sort of advertising anything. But as time went on, obviously you have like footballers and you have like sports people that are more and more Kiwi, right? They play, exactly, and they like you have ads and stuff that incorporate the New Zealanders in it because everyone loves New Zealand, right? That like it got more and more normal for me, and it stopped being strange. But I think like if I like lived anywhere else, it would still be strange because you wouldn't hear it as frequently. But because I live in Australia, it's not as weird.
What about in terms of like because I know that I know that Aussies, they love to make fun of Kiwis. That's just it's a given thing. But like that's why you've got like, you know, things like the beach whale. You know that thing. You know how it's just like
beach desbo, like that stuff, right?
Yeah, that stuff has to stop. It has to stop. Like it's just like, you know, you come to New Zealand, you don't hear people go, "Oh, I'm beach des." You know, I'm beach bro.
You do it perfectly, man. That's a really good impersonation.
Or what about that? It's just like, you know, it's like, Monique's gonna think I'm dumb. You know, like that kind of thing. You know,
or like, oh, you want a chip, bro? Oh no,
you want a chip, bro? No, I only eat plankton. I only eat plankton. So
like that stuff was pretty good, man.
We don't
like
sound
it was
like
funny
that.
to us.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Are you sure you don't sound like that? Because that's what it sounds like right now. Like we literally did the exact accent just a moment ago. I'm pretty sure you sound like that.
Yeah, but the thing is that, you know, we have to put that on. We have to put that on.
Yeah, like you have to actually like put it make it really heavily New Zealand, right?
I guess it's sort of the same as, you know, Sydney people. You know, they have that really, really heavy accent, like, you know, that home and away accent. You know,
home and away, man. Yeah. In all honesty, actually, like Australian accents doesn't sound like what it does in the movies, right? You get Australians in movies. You're like, oh yeah, let's put a shrimp on the barbie, mate. Like, I don't know where that came from. I have no idea how that actually came around. In what is it? The episode of The Simpsons where they go down to Australia and they're like,
one, yes.
Oh, you want to play knifey spoony? And then you're just like, who the heck plays knifey spoony? What is
that a knife?
Spoony?
So you call that a knife?
Yeah, exactly. Like that stuff doesn't make sense to me.
Nah, well that's what it is. It is what it is there. Yeah, it just sounds really, really. I think it's probably because they're just so used to the crocodile hunter.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was like the true epitome. Like Crocodile Hunter and Steve Irwin, right? Two of the biggest named Aussies in the world, and they both have the biggest bogan accents that you can have.
Really?
Bogan is like a country Australian. Yeah, like nobody talks like that. Literally, nobody talks like that unless they're from the country or from like from pretty much the country. Yeah, outback. Exactly. Like you won't get anyone that talks like that. Everyone talks pretty normally, like, or at least it feels normal to us. But when, like, even for us, if you get somebody that talks like a bogan, right? If you get somebody that talks like Steve Irwin, talks like Crocodile Hunter, or anything like that, it's just it comes off as so strange to us, and even we make fun of it. Like we just try to make fun of their accent because their accent is strange to us. Like that's how weird it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that it's sort of the same with New Zealand. I mean, we've got a few accents. The one that's probably the most prominent one is obviously, you know, the beach dares and all those others. But
yeah.
You also have the ones that are like, you know, from the south. and they kind of roll their tongues a little bit more when they're speaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the people in Invercargill, which is, the really, really most south part of New Zealand, instead of saying, so basically how we say 30 dirty purple work shirts, they sort of say
30 dirty purple work shirts.
Yeah, so it's 30 dirty purple work shirts. It just sounds really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so
I never heard about that.
It's different. It's different in a way. So
honestly, I don't think I've ever heard that accent. That's just like, yeah, that's like a weird Kiwi accent. If that's the case, that's strange.
Yeah, well, I think that the people in down south, I think that most of the people there are like, sort of like, if you're Caucasian over there, you sort of have like a Scottish heritage or Irish heritage or something like that,
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess. Like obviously everyone comes from all walks of life, right? So I mean, you could be European down in the bottom of New Zealand, you have that accent and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So moving right along there. So Gabe, is there any other sort of games that you play or anything like that at all?
Oh man, I've dabbled in a few. I've dabbled in a few games, right? Like I tried to play Overwatch, and I was like, man, Overwatch is such a fun game. And then I realized I just got even saltier than I in comparison to Tekken. Like Overwatch is like literally eating salt all of the time. It makes me so angry. And then I realized I'd never be good at it. So all I do is like I jump into quick play or I jumped into rank, and I play like McCree, and I do like 6 shots. Get salty at my team and then leave. Right, that's like the entire thing. I also I've played other first-person shooters before. I do like a lot of story-driven games though. I like The Last of Us, and the Batman games. I really like Batman games because Batman's badass, right?
Well, you did say that you're a bit of a weeb, so I mean, do you play like all the Japanese? Do you play all the JRPGs like Persona 5 or something like that?
Surprisingly, I don't. Mainly because I have a really short attention span, right?
It's a damn good game.
Yeah, from what I've heard, Persona 5 is really good. I've watched the anime. Persona 5 was great. But I think JRPGs just take too long for me, and I'm like, man, like I tried to play Earthbound, which was like an old SNES game, right? And I got through like the first like maybe 2 or 3 hours of it, and I was like, man, this game is too long. Like you have to grind, you have to get like level up, and then you have to get better at it, and then you have to fight these things over and over again until you finish the story. And I think I just lost interest, right? Same with like other games like Fallout and stuff. Like I'll play Fallout. I think I played Fallout up until I found out that you could glitch items when you're like building I guess houses and stuff in Fallout 4. And then pretty much I just stopped playing the main story and only collected like all of the items so I could actually like start building these sick ass sky houses and stuff. Like I mean my attention span is so short that I can't, like Tekken is a fantastic game for me because I literally only pay attention for that 5 minutes and then I sort of like I leave for a bit. And it works well. But
you question yourself that you might have ADHD?
Ooh, potentially. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't really think about it like that. Like, I think I've always just had a short attention span when it comes to any sort of like narrative. So if something doesn't like have quick progression, like it won't really interest me. That's the reason why Last of Us was really good because like it had short bursts of different story modes. Like you had like different chapters, and they were short enough for me to like stay invested, and then like the next chapter would be different.
Different scenery, right?
Yeah, exactly. Different scenery, different characters. Like you get like enough stuff to sort of like keep you interested and be like, oh, this is a really interestingly written game, and stuff like that. Like that, those type of games are really good for me. But I think back in the day, I mean, I've always played fighting games. Like I think one of my first fighting games, obviously Street Fighter 2. Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But one of the ones I used to play with my friends was always like Dragon Ball Z Hyper Dimension. I don't know if you've played that. It was like an old SNES game that I had to get an emulator for. But it was like this sick 2D. Essentially, it's basically what Dragon Ball Fighter Z is now, right? But not as in depth, but it was still pretty in depth. I've like it was one of the good fighting games. But I've always been a fan of like short, quick bursts of games. I think the other long games that I've played was like Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2. That was a sick game because that was the first one you could like fly around the city and stuff.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, like those are the things that I really sort of have an interest in. I think I played Quake for a little bit, and like obviously everyone's played CS and stuff. But
so you
Age
play
of Empires.
so you're a jack of all trades. You play a lot of things. Not just you're not just fixated on just the one game. You sort of span.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I play a lot of games, but I think Tekken is my main game. Obviously, like I play Tekken like very frequently. And then when I'm getting super salty at Tekken, I'll switch over to a different game. Doesn't matter what game it is, just anything.
Okay.
Just so I can sort of like chill and play something different.
Yeah, for sure. So next question. What about your hair? What's up with that? Like, so I can see like it's a different color every freaking time. So what is up with that?
Yeah, man. Man, look. Once you go look as an Asian, right? As a Filipino, you have black hair.
Yes.
And maybe brown. Maybe like really dark brown. You're like,
Yep.
oh yeah, that's pretty normal.
Mhm.
I like standing out. I like being that person that like sort of stands out. So I mean, if you bleach your hair, right, you're gonna put it into different colors. You're not just gonna leave it like that washed out Asian yellow that comes around all the time, or that Asian orange that it's
That Asian orange
coined as.
almost looks like ginger. It almost looks
Yeah,
like
exactly,
ginger.
right?
Yeah.
Almost looks like
happened.
ginger.
It's happened to me like on numerous occasions, and it's so bad. So
Yeah. So yeah, like once you go to that, you're like, oh man, I got to do something different with it, right?
Mhm.
So you start going into like temporary dyes, and I think when I coined the name Muffin Top, right, XX Muffin Top, spelt without any vowels because I'm edgy, right, and it's all capitals, so XXMFFNTP. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Yeah, I decided, man, I'm gonna create this persona of Muffin Top. I'm gonna change my hair every tournament or every appearance that I make. I'm gonna go a different color. So at first I was like, I went green, and then I was like, man, once the green washes out, I'm gonna do a different color. So I went pink, and I was like, man, pink looks pretty good. So I kept pink for a while. I was like, I want to do something different for IeSF. So
purple. That's hence the purple.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
I went purple, and purple looks boss, right? Because it like matches Twitch. It works with like your pictures and stuff. But I did it so like I don't know if anyone watches wrestling, but I watched. I'm following Asuka from
I love
WWE.
wrestling. I actually love wrestling. So many yarns. That's probably gonna. We're not gonna bore the crowd now, but yeah, we'll definitely have a yarn afterwards.
Oh yeah, man. There's a girl named Asuka now who's just coming from Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has like pink. She has like bright fluoro pink with like purple tinges and like this green patch. And I'm like, dude, I want to do something like that. I want to like go nuts with it and have like this like crazy patch and then have like a majority color. So I did that. So I had like pastel purple and like deep purple throughout my hair and sort of like sectioned it off. And I was like, man, this looks sick. And then that's like the reason that I started doing it was because I coined the term muffin tops, and muffins always have like interesting tops, right? So yeah, it came from that. I started like deciding that I was going to do a different color each time.
It's not really a muffin though. It's more like, you know, the
It's
cream.
a cupcake. It's a cupcake
cream
top,
on
right?
The cupcake. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm a fairly large dude, so like muffin sort of works better instead of cupcake. Man, I should have called myself Cupcake Man. That would have been
Man,
good.
eh?
Yeah.
No,
Cupcake
so
top.
what's your next color gonna be?
Oh man, I haven't actually decided. This purple is staying in a lot longer than I thought it would. But I'll probably go either Fire Engine Red, or I might go like a Sky Blue. I think Sky Blue might be on the books.
If you go Fire Engine Red, I mean, it might make you go faster, so you might block things faster. Your reaction time might be faster.
Yeah, man.
Because, you know,
I
Red's always
wouldn't be
faster.
surprised. Yeah, absolutely. Red's the color. My car goes fast because I speed everywhere. But no, like I try. Like I can barely like block Snake Edge half the time, man. So it'd be way better if I could react faster to things.
Maybe.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
I wish I could block Snake Edge consistently, but man, I don't think anyone can.
Dude, I've been playing Tekken for more than 10 years, and I get flustered by Snake Edge. It's
Snake
stupid.
Edge.
It's a stupid move. It's a big low, and sometimes you just cannot see it.
Yeah. It's unseeable. It's
Yeah.
like a hell sweep, but better.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, moving right along. So, is there any Tekken players in Australia, like any local Tekken players that you actually idolize?
Idolized. Woo, man,
Not
that's
idolize,
a big
but
question.
you look up to.
Like I look up to and want to actually like play similar to them or like get better than them. But I honestly like a lot of. I think what I admire the most is the patience that is available within the Sydney community. Like they have the patience of like a rock. Literally, they just sit there and do nothing for the entire game, and they'll somehow win. And that's something that being in Brisbane is very different, right? Brisbane is like one of these cities where you go in hard, you try to finish the game in like 20 seconds because you wanna finish the game quickly, right? But like Sydney players just don't do that. They take their time. They wait for everything. And I really admire that. Like that's something that I've always been working on, and I'm trying to improve my timing, which is like another aspect of Tekken.
So basically, as in timing, as in what is it going in at the right time? Sort of
like knowing when to attack, right?
Yeah.
Like spacing, knowing when to attack. Like I mean, if you attack in a certain pattern, like if you always sidestep and then do a move immediately afterwards, your opponent can block that. Or if you are against the wall, you have this mix-up that you know will work in your hometown, but then you go to somewhere else and they can easily beat that mix-up. You need to be able to mix up your timing so they get hit by it, right?
Yeah.
But that's something that I struggle with, like improving, and I think Sydney is one of the cities that can actually do that. It's not really just one player that I'm working on, that I'm idolizing or like wanting to be like. It's like I want to gain knowledge from each of the cities to essentially get better overall. Melbourne is very good at timing, while Sydney is very good at patience and stuff like that. So like it's a really good sort of like mix of different skill pools that I want to sort of like swim in and get better at as time goes on.
True. No, that's a good answer. What about in terms of rivals? Who do you think is your ultimate rival?
Ooh, ultimate rival. I think I would look. Honestly, I would say back in Tekken Tag, Scorpion was my ultimate rival, right? Scorpion was one of those guys that would always play Tekken. I would always come in and I would spend loads and loads of money in the arcade to play him and like always go 50-50 with him. We'd have first to 10s and he'd always be super excited that he beat me by 1 point or whatever each time that we played. But I think in Tekken 7, it's changed. I think honestly, like Yiggs or Raven Boy will be my ultimate rivals now in Tekken 7 because they've surpassed everyone. They're sort of like at the top of the food chain, and that's where I'm sort of chilling at the moment as well. So I'm chilling with them, and I'm trying to like it's a power struggle between all three of us. Like we all sort of improve each time we meet up. So I think it's a really good way of improving. But honestly, overall, initially it was Scorpion. It was Scorpion for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it just
very
because of the way he played? He just pisses you off, is he? His play style.
Yeah. Like that was the thing. Like my biggest goal in Tekken Tag was to beat Scorpion. Like it was to beat him in a first to 10 every time because it would show that I had improved or done something and actually gotten better at this game, right? But I could never do it. I always choked in like the last couple of rounds, and I would always just like lose out in a first to 10 or a first to 5. It'd always be really close, but then in that last game, I would just be so mentally drained from playing his ridiculous playstyle that that I wouldn't be able to keep up with it anymore, and he would like edge out and win.
I see.
Yeah, that was the main thing. Like he was always the one that was the most draining to play because grab mix-ups, like hop kick, like you can't duck the grabs because he would hop kick or do something like that. and then if you were to break the grabs or whatever, he would do another grab immediately afterwards. That would be a different grab, so you'd have to break that grab as well. So it was it was the same sort of stuff, and it's still the same stuff. So now the Tekken 7 is a little bit easier to see. It's easier to it's got better move. I feel like it's got better movement, or at least I've improved.
I think that you're on the same boat as a lot of people in thinking that. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a lot easier to beat him now, and I think that's the main thing. Like he still plays pretty well online, right? But in an offline meet, man, like there's no problem in breaking those grabs because you can see them a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. The break window's easier. There's it's bigger. There's more time for you to do stuff, so it's not as bad anymore. But like back in the day in Tekken Tag 2, where like the break window was super small and like you had to press specific buttons even for generic grabs, like that was a huge thing. And if you couldn't see that, it was always really hard to win. So that was the biggest thing.
It does seem that Tekken 7 is a little bit more forgiving than the previous Tekkens. Like Tekken 5 was a very, very unforgiving game, and especially in the sort of the throw game of it. Like Xiao Yu's throw game was insane. Like, in her back turn and things like that. So it's either you're gonna get a 1 throw, a 2 throw, or you're gonna get launched.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a huge thing, right? Nowadays there's this like good balance of being able to like break grabs, because there's not as much like generic grabs don't hold as much weight anymore. So it's a really good thing. It's a lot more forgiving. There's a lot more time to break these grabs as well, so you can sort of recognize them and actually press the button before you do so. But I think it's more inviting for newer players. I think they're really focusing on I guess marketing the game towards newer players. So it's not like just legacy skill, because obviously the people with legacy skill can still break those grabs and do everything like that. But then the newer players aren't like struggling to win because they're getting grabbed by their friends or something like that.
For sure.
Like losing out to that and then feeling frustrated and then not playing anymore. Right. So I think it's a really good change. It makes it, because all you need to remember is 1 or 2 or 1+2. Like it just makes it really easy now.
All command throws different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously command throws you still have to watch for arms, and that's what makes King such a good character to sort of like do that with. But I think it's one of those things that you can sort of get used to and get better at. Like you don't have to focus on it as much until you verse like a King or something like that.
Yeah. Well, no, that's definitely. What else is there? So this is coming from Zazob. He said,
"Ooh, Zazob."
Yeah.
Mate,
what does
he was the guy that beat Saint at OHM 15,
that's
right?
Crazy, man. Yeah. So the question from Mr. Saint Killer there is, what do you think of Cornova and for playing in Tekken compared to other Aussies?
Oh man, honestly, Cornova is like leagues above a lot of Australians, man. I was literally like, I was playing him, I'm like, his movement is, his spacing is great, and as we were talking about before, his timing is on point. So he can force you to attack. Like it feels like he's attacking randomly, but it's not. Like everything has a method to it, and it's really, really interesting to play against.
Everything that he does has a reason, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it's really, really good to play against, because you know that if you're losing, you're obviously doing the wrong things. So in order to win, you have to do the right things, and that's that's in the end goal, right? Is to do the right things every single time, and he does the right things every single time. That's the reason why he came 4th at the IeSF tournament.
Yeah.
He beat the names of like John Ding. He beat well, unfortunately he didn't beat Dojin or Book, but he was going toe to toe with him in casuals, man. Like he was, his gameplay is phenomenal. It's really impressive. I think he rivals only maybe the top players in Australia, and even then, I think he's still probably a little bit like he might edge out the wins on those ones if he was to do like first of 10s or something with them.
Yeah. No, well, that's actually good that, one of the Kiwi players are actually quite high up there. I didn't think that, that you guys would actually take him as high regard as what you said. So,
yeah, man. I know a good Tekken player and Zazo, Cornova, but Zazo was also very good. Cornova is definitely a very good Tekken player.
Yeah,
It's really good to see. Really clean Tekken, and really enjoyable to watch when he's messing, especially when he's messing around. Actually, like how some people play differently when they're messing around versus like in a tournament. He's good to watch in both. Like, I mean, in tournament he plays very safe. He's very calculated. He makes decisions every single time. But when he's playing in casuals, he's also very he becomes more aggressive, and like his execution is very high. And it's really fun to watch as well. Like it's just a really interesting sort of like I guess mix of play styles.
Ah, right, okay. Well, how about comparing yourself with Cornova?
Man, there's no comparison.
I don't want to start an argument or anything, but I just want
Look, I 100% admit that Cornova is leagues above me, in Tekken.
Okay.
I don't even think I'm like very good in terms of like Australian level Tekken. I think Brisbane, maybe I'll be pretty high in Brisbane, but like against other play styles which don't press a lot of buttons or don't do a lot of actions, right? Where they're playing more patiently or turtle a bit more. Against those styles, I struggle against because I play a character like Claudio who is inherently bad against turtles because of like his moveset and his abilities and stuff like that. But like because of that, right? It limits me when Cornova is thinking about everything that he's doing and he's not attacking or he's not doing anything. He plays very turtly even with aggressive characters, so like it makes it really hard for me to even come close to it unless I was to change to a different character which had the ability to open someone up and actually get a bit further in. But I mean, again, that's just something that I have to learn. I have to learn how to deal with that and get better at it and better and better. But I mean, ever since the announcement of Noctis at the Tekken World Tour, man, I'm pretty sure I'm dropping Claudio.
What, you just jizzed your pants, did you?
Oh man, you have no idea. Dude, when Noctis got announced, Noctis was like best boy as he came through. I was like, dude, I'm gonna drop everything and play Noctis.
He looks cool though.
What?
I mean,
dude, he has a sword. He has teleportation. He has everything, dude. And he's just like an upgrade of Claudio.
Yeah, I think I jumped the gun there. And Yiggs actually saw my comment on Facebook, and he was kind of shaking his head there. I actually said, I'm gonna drop Xiao Yu, and I'm gonna pick up. I'm gonna main I'm gonna main Noctis. And then he was like, man. What, really? Nah, don't do that.
Nah, look, honestly, like, you only need one Noctis player, and that player's gonna...
He'll just be a secondary for me, I reckon.
That's a good mindset. I think, regardless of how he plays, right, he looks really cool, and I just want to do that in tournament, and play, and throw swords at people, and stuff. Like, that'd be nuts to win a tournament with, like, stupid things, just like throwing swords or teleporting towards someone.
For sure, that's for
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Lucky Chloe pisses off a lot of people because of stupid shit. That's all it is.
Oh man, I almost took a game off Junding, but I choked in the last game. In the last round. Yeah. Because I was like, oh man, I'm going well. It was 2-2. It was pretty close, and then she goes into back turn and then does whatever the rolling tumble kick is.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I'm Claudio. I can do a running too because that's a smart idea. And it completely whiffed, and then I lost like almost 70% of my life. So
yeah, that's ridiculous. With any Lucky Chloe combo is just high damage, but high risk as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you know how to beat it, you know how to beat it. I went in there going, man, I know how to beat Chloe. I should be fine. And then I just went autopilot in that last game, and I lost it. And Cornova was watching me, and he was like, man, you choked really hard. And I was like, yeah, I did.
Did you say the same thing when he lost to Kira? You choked really hard.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, man, you choked bad. But when he lost to Kira, everyone was super upset. I was like, man, I wanted him to come up out on top, man. I was like, you play Eliza players over there in New Zealand. You should have this. And then
I think I was really sad to him. Like when he came back, I was like, dude, let's get a podcast together. And then I was like, and he's like, yeah, I guess we could. I was like, yeah, we can talk about how you lost to Kira. And he's like, shut up, I hate you. Like, I don't want to talk to you now.
Man, no, when he lost, I was in the crowd. Dude, this game is hype so bad. Like, it was so good to watch.
Yeah.
But then I was like, man, he's choking hard. Like, he's losing out to stuff that he shouldn't be. he was saying that he was struggling with moving and like a bunch of weird stuff was happening. I was like, oh well, that's unfortunate. It just seems like you choked.
Yeah. I mean, people have good games, people have bad games. I mean, no need to really beat yourself up over it. Yeah. What else is on the agenda? Okay, so here's another one. What's the most successful moment in your whole Tekken sort of, career, I guess, if you want to say.
Career.
Yeah, and
I guess, yeah.
And which is your most saltiest moment?
Successful and salty, man. But honestly, like when it comes to success, I don't know how to measure it. I think, is it tournament play? Is it just like overcoming this huge obstacle that you've had? I think there's two situations, right, that really come to mind when you say, when did I know that I got good at Tekken and actually feel successful at playing this game? Right? Well, there's three moments, obviously. Like one, winning a championship to go to Korea, most recently. But the first one, right, was in OHN 15. No, 14. OHN 14. So last year's OHN.
So Tekken
which is
2,
like
I take it.
No, it was Tekken 7.0. 7.0. When we played in Sydney, it was like
really?
Dude, it's 2017, man. Last year. No, OHN 14, which is the 14th OHN.
Oh, right. I thought you meant 14, yeah, because we normally put it down as years. No, sorry about that. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. No.
Yep.
Yeah. So OHN 14, which was last year's OHN in 2016.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Had Tekken 7.0, and I came second in that, losing only to Dion, who still beats me to a pulp every time we play. But he, like that was my first national tournament that I went to. It was my first major tournament that I went to. It was probably the first tournament that I actually entered properly in Tekken 7, and I came second. And that was a huge success, and I was like, man, maybe I'm actually decent at this game. Or maybe I had an easy run all the way up to grand finals. But even so, like even in top 8, you'd have to verse like really good players, right? So you can't really say that you had an easy run regardless. It was still going to be hard. So that was huge. Like that was the first time I was like, man, maybe I'm actually good at this game. Maybe I should play this game more and get better at it.
Yeah.
The next moment that I realized that I was actually really enjoying Tekken 7 was when, again, you know how I mentioned that Scorpion was my rival?
Yes.
Back in the day, yeah? We had an exhibition match that was streamed in Brisbane Arcades for 7.0 again. And it was something that the local guys put together. It was called PTC, or Pride Tekken Championships. And the headliner match, because it was like a UFC Cup type of thing, right?
Right.
And the headliner match was me versus Scorpion. In a first to 7 or first to 7, right? And that was a whitewash. Like that was the first time I had actually gone anywhere near completely destroying Scorpion. The score was 7-1 in the end, and that point I was like, man, I've overcome the biggest obstacle in my entire Tekken lifespan, right? Which was Scorpion's stupid playstyle. And I ended up crushing it. And I was like, dude, this game is great. I love Tekken 7. It's fantastic. because of that moment, I was just like, there was no better moment than being able to beat your rival and having it be such like a one-sided battle.
Right.
That was huge.
So it's sort of like red beating green in Pokemon.
Exactly, man. Like you were like, you come against your rival, you're like, man, you know that you've lost every single time against him, and then you come up to him and it's completely the opposite, right? It's no longer close. It's not even like, it's not like 6-7 or something like that. It's not like final round, final game. It was literally like, there was one game where I dropped because I was like, you should probably win one to make this good for the stream. So he won one, and then it was just a whitewash after that.
Yeah. Is it sort of one of those videos that you like, that you just sort of tune in and just watch over and over again?
No, the problem with actually watching it is that I can't learn anything from it, right? Because I won so easily. That's my problem. Like if I was to watch something where I lost really close, then I sort of go, well, I know what decisions I made. But if I get completely beaten down, those are the videos that I watch because I want to get better, right? It's not that I want to feel good about myself and be like, I won something. It's that if I watch something where I lose, I have to learn what I did incorrectly in that match in order to then overcome it the next time. So I would rather watch matches where I lose, even though it's really hard to watch because in hindsight, everything looks clearer, right? You go back to it and you're like, man, why did I do those things? Why did I make those mistakes? You look at it, and then the next time you come up against that opponent, you'll be like, I shouldn't lose because I know what I did wrong the first time. If they're still at the same skill level, I should be able to beat them.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing, like being able to actually see all of that stuff. Then I sort of know what I did wrong and can improve from there. But I can't improve from watching myself win.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, that moves on to the next question about the salty side of things. So, when was your saltiest moment?
Yeah, man, look, I'm not gonna lie, the saltiest moment, actually, I discussed this on one of my streams recently, where I think Abby and CTC from Australia were saying, man, don't you ever feel really upset when you lose a game of Tekken? And I was saying, no, I don't usually, because I want to try and learn and try and improve and get better at Tekken. So I don't really worry about when I lose. I just have to remember how I can beat it the next time. But I think the saltiest moment that I've ever there are two moments that come to mind that I was actually very salty at.
Right.
And these are the only two times that I've actually held on to that saltiness and gotten sort of really upset about how I played. And one we discussed it earlier was that the tournament where I was like, man, I'm gonna win this because I'm top of my game. I'm doing really well.
Trophy?
And yeah, the glass trophy.
Okay.
I was like, man, I'm so mad that I didn't win this glass trophy because I played like I normally do, and I didn't adapt to the people that I was versing. So I was super salty at myself more so than anything because I was like, I should have won that easily. There shouldn't have been a reason that I lost that, but I lost it. And I had gotten into my head that I was like, I'm going to take home this glass trophy. It was in my mind. It was in my hands already. And then I was like, at the start of the day, I was like, can I see the glass trophy? Can I see what it'll look like on my shelf and stuff? And then I come up against Yigs and Raven Boy and I lose both matches. I'm like, man, I'm out of this tournament. I don't get this glass trophy. I don't get anything. Yeah. So I was like, man, that sucks. I was super salty. That was the most recent one.
Right, okay. And you said there was another one.
Yeah, there was another thing where in Tekken Tag 2, this was going back a few years, when I had, I think it was the last 1st to 10 against Scorpion that I had. Again, being my biggest rival, huge accomplishment if I actually beat him, right? Because that's what you want to do against your rival. You want to overcome it and beat him. So in the last Tekken Tag 2 1st to 10 that I had, I was playing my mains and he was playing, I think he was playing his Mishima team, like Kazuya Heihachi or whatever.
Right, okay.
And at first I was like, it's just going to be another 1st to 10. I'm just going to see where I'm at and see how I'm going. And I was actually I was losing to start off with, but then I found myself adapting and getting better and better and better during the actual set. And then in the end, it ended up being 9-9. It was super close. So much closer than I had ever thought in my life, and I was like, "Man, I could actually win this!" And I was getting so excited at this tournament, at this 1st to 10. I was like, "Man, I've got this in the bag." I made a 5-game comeback when he was super high, and I'm like, I'm so close to winning it. It's in my grasp. I have it in my hands.
Yep.
And then he picks Capos.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He picks Capos, and I'm like, crap. I don't know how to beat Capos. Capos are my most hated enemy because obviously back in the day I used to press a lot of buttons, right? We all know friggin' Capos, man, back 1-4, right, is the most ridiculous move because you're like, oh yeah, at any stage this 13 frame counter hit launcher will take 80% of your character's life, guaranteed. And then if they hit a wall, it's basically a death combo.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way that you can win. So I was like, man, this has just crushed my dreams at that point. I was like, I'm so salty that you had to change to a team that you know that I can't beat because I don't know how to beat them.
Yeah.
Now I do, which isn't so bad. But back then, I was like, you have to pull out this stupid, cheap team of
dirty,
Christy and Eddie.
So he played dirty. So you kind of felt that he kind of wronged you.
I was so salty because I was like, man, you are dirty. You're dirty for choosing these two characters.
Yeah.
Even though he's like obviously he's good with them in Tekken Tag because they have background 4 and they have good keep out and everything like that. And I didn't know how to get around that at the time. And looking back on it now, I'm like, man, I know everything that I did wrong in that match. But at the time, I was like, you mofo. Like, I was so angry. I was like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I already knew that I had lost at that point. All of my confidence dropped immediately, and I was like, I'm done. I'm so out of this thing. And he ended up taking it straight game, so I was like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Like, everything goes, momentum goes, like everything just drops, and you're just like, man, I know that I can't win this.
You're just like,
anymore.
Screw this. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Pretty much. I was like,
let's just stock up on a few beers.
Yeah, I was like, let's just finish this. Let's just finish it quickly, and I'm out. Like, I already know that I've lost. So that was the most. I would say that was saltier than the glass trophy. Although the glass trophy.
Well, just hearing it from your voice, you can sort of. There was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of salt buildup. It was still it was still in the creases and crevices of of your body there. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can sort of tell that there's a bit of tension there. But
which is the reason why it was so good when I beat him in the first of 7. Like,
that's all behind you now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like so last question. This is actually going to be my last question of the night before we ride off into the sunset, just like what everybody says that I always say. It's one of my lines, actually. So, okay, so let's get to this. Who is your Tekken waifu?
Oh, mate, this is a difficult question. Hey, like I think I've gone through a number of waifus that.
Is this like a gay harem thing now?
Oh yeah, no. It's not a harem, right? I think initially, like, I didn't really like any of the female characters initially. I was like, Ling's really annoying. Asuka's like this badass, which I mean, it's kind of cool and all, but like I don't know. Not really my thing. Lily was like this French pompous lady that I was like, not that. And then Alyssa came along, and I was like, she's like an obedient robot. That's pretty cool. I like Alyssa. She's chill. So I played Alyssa in Tekken 6. Actually, she was my waifu in Tekken 6.
Mm-hmm.
And also Zafina. Zafina came along like out of nowhere, and I was like, "Ooh, Egyptian! Like that's kind of cool. That's interesting. That's mysterious."
Mm-hmm.
She also does like weird like spider crawl things. So I was like, "Ooh,
creepy.
Flexible, right? Flexible all day."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting, right? This is a cool character."
Yeah.
But then Tekken 7 comes along, and I'm like, "Man, I'm a giant weeb, right? Giant weeb. I watch anime."
Oh, don't tell me it's Lucky Chloe.
You're gonna be disappointed because it is.
Oh no, it's Lucky Chloe.
It is. Lucky Chloe was great when she got introduced. Actually, I was like, I'm gonna play Lucky Chloe, and then Tom Yiggs, right, your senpai, was like, no, I'm gonna play Lucky Chloe. And I was like, no, you're not. And then we were like, look, we'll first to 5 for it, right?
Oh jeez.
And it was like,
you're one of those guys. You guys are like, that kind of
no, we have
community.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, we were like, no, we have to do it, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like first to 5, the person that loses is banned from playing Lucky Chloe.
Oh.
Yeah, would you know it, right? It was a whitewash because I wasn't very good at Tekken at the time, and I was like, man, I lost in almost straight sets. I think it was 5-1 at the time, and I was like, no, I can't play Lucky Chloe. So, I ended up playing Lucky Chloe behind his back, and she's actually very fun to play. She's a lot more fun than a lot of the other female characters. So I really actually enjoy Lucky Chloe. I also like how obnoxious she is, and I hate that everyone gets so salty when somebody chooses her because she's like so annoying. She says 1-2 in this really nasally like annoying accent, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
And the funny thing is that she's American, and she puts on this like Japanese accent.
Oh no, it's great. Like she's the definition of weeb.
Yeah.
Like I love it. That's why I love it because I'm like, man, I'm a huge weeb. She's a huge weeb. Everything is great. Like
what's funny though, Gabe, is that I don't know. Since you said that you're a huge weeb. Obviously you watch anime and stuff.
Yeah.
You know the 3rd season of Shokugeki no Soma.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just started.
You know that Irena's voice, the main girl. You know,
Yeah?
she's actually her voice actress got sick, so
Really?
they had to get a new voice actor, and
Oh,
that new
that's
voice
unfortunate.
actress happened to be the same voice actress that did Lucky Chloe.
Nice. I'm super excited. I didn't realize that. So now after this podcast, I'm gonna go and watch all of the episodes.
So it's only season 3 only though, and that's not.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch season 3 for it.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So Lucky
Because
Chloe
it's only up
locked in
to episode
for-
6, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
good.
yeah. So Lucky Chloe
Yeah.
is locked in for Gabe.
Lucky Chloe in Tekken 7 only.
Okay.
Because she's a huge weeb. But I would say Alyssa is still waifu overall.
Oh, okay then. Well, you can't really,
Yeah.
you can't choose like that. Come on, man. It's like, you can only,
Okay, look.
you're not gonna.
Okay,
choose,
from now.
you're not, yeah, go on.
I can't choose. So it's pretty difficult for me. But look, overall, I would say Lucky Chloe because I mean, weebs are in my heart. It's great.
You can,
Love
you
it.
guys can enjoy the little things together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you want to watch anime? Yeah, let's watch anime. Like great. We're both weebs and we'll both weeb out. It'll be fun.
That's great.
Like a robot's a robot, right? You can't really do much with a robot. But if you're watching anime with someone, don't go there.
Well, they have they have at least, you know, with Alyssa, yeah. Well, with Alyssa, there's no emotion, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, there's no emotion, right?
Unless
But
you're
I mean-
Lars, you know, you love a robot. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. But I mean, look, if you think about it, right, Lucky Chloe has all of the emotion because she's a weeb, right? And weebs are always like classifying themselves in those like weird little like tsundere and type of deals, right? So they can you can have a lot of emotion or whatever. So I think that'd be really fun.
Okay. So now, what we'll do is, yeah, we do have like a list of people. I was quite surprised that you didn't actually mention, you know, Nina or Anna or anything. I know they're old, but
Oh man, yeah, nah, like Nina's not really. I hated her, because Scorpion played her, and I just hated it.
Okay.
Anna on the other hand was played by the other Brisbane player, Drop Pants for Food, so Jason, and he's very good with Anna, but Anna no longer exists, so I sort of forget about her, right? Like, and she was a thought, right, back in Tekken, like in early days of Tekken. She was like seductive or whatever, and it's just a turn off. It's not that great.
I don't like the hairstyle of Anna. That's the only thing.
Oh, the bob, yeah, the bob is
yeah, I
weird.
don't like it. Ugh, gross. But anyway, no. Well, what we'll do is we'll wrap things up. Is there any special mentions that you wanted to sort of give shout outs to or anything like that before we ride off into sunset for real this time?
Absolutely. So there's a few people. Roa and I, who did my little profile picture, the image of me with the pink hair. Shout outs to her. She's available on Instagram. I think you posted it in the groups before to obviously like link her there. She was really nice and actually and helped me draw my profile picture, which I'm using as my logo for everything now because I love it so much.
It looks cool.
AOC Gaming, AOC Gaming monitors as well. AEL, the Australian Esports League based in Sydney, who actually got me the opportunity to go over to South Korea as well to play at the IeSF. And obviously the IeSF are actually giving me some sort of exposure to be able to play like all these top players. Like those are the main ones. Like everyone else has been fantastic. Everything else has been a huge journey to get me to where I am right now. But I think everything has sort of just started blowing up for me now because obviously I've been able to travel a little bit and make friends and stuff like that. So I've got Dojin as a Facebook friend now, and I'm trying to get him to come to our next major here in Australia down in Melbourne at BAM. So I'm in the talks of that.
Exciting stuff, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and a couple of, obviously, Team Solid, the people that I represent wholeheartedly, as well as PvP Gaming, who sponsors me to obviously do a bunch of stuff here within Brisbane. Helps pay for my bills whenever we have tournaments and stuff because I win and I get free money. So that's always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be streaming for PvP Gaming later on, I believe, when we start doing local tournaments again as well. So yeah, they're helping me out to build a name for myself. So everyone's being really supportive. It's really great. So also yourself, Chrono, for having me on the
No,
show.
it's not a problem. I mean,
Fantastic
it's
time.
actually an honor to have you here, you know, and everything. You know, I need to build up my base, and everything. And, you know, this is actually quite good. I mean, it's attracting a lot of the Australian crowd, which is definitely quite good. You know, just attracting people from across the ditch, which is, amazing. And I definitely want to have more Australian players, you know, tune in to the Salt Shakers and everything. So
yeah, definitely. I hope they tune in.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to tune out. Before we do that, I just also wanted to promote Off-Season Salt. So this is basically an event that's actually sponsored by Mighty Ape, and Mighty Ape is running it. It's going to be, you know, a pretty good event there. So $5 entry registration and $5 per game. So if you want to play Tekken and Street Fighter, then it's 2 sets of $5 there. The prize money there is $500, which is or prize pool of $500. So that's going to be good. It'll be held at Mega Web, which is pretty much the same place as Christmas Damager. And all the other Rambats that was held in Auckland. So if you're not doing anything on that day, which is the 9th of December, definitely come in, definitely sign up, and definitely see what you got to offer and everything. And so obviously the more people, the better it's going to be. So anyway, guys, keep it real. Chrono's tuning out now. Be sure to look out for our next podcast, which is going to be featured Zazob and Tinkoz. So this is going to be actually quite an exciting podcast there. And that would be happening on Friday, which is going to be on the 18th of November, at anywhere between 8 to 8:30. So be sure to tune into that. Anyways, guys, it's been really, really good having Gabe on as well. So definitely good. And yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Hey, this is the D-Sam.
This is Pinolicious.
Hey, this is Neil.
Hey, this is Rainbow.
Yo, it's your boy Cubsy, and you're listening to the...
And you're listening to...
You're listening to the Salt Shaker Podcast.
And you're listening to the Salt Shaker Podcast.
This is a new guy, and he's not that good in terms of basic. But what can I say? He's spamming these unseeable moves, and he was beating us, right?
Yeah.
So I was quite pissed, but at the same time, I couldn't say I'm pissed because that would look very bad.
Can you tell me, in your honest opinion, in our community, who do you think are the heels? Or I should say, bad guys.
I'm gonna make some enemies with this
No,
one.
you won't.
No.
It's all for fun.
Okay,
All for fun.
I think maybe Sivio?
Bastards interview, answer him. I'm standing there like, so, when was a time when you had to use your creativity to get yourself out of a mess with a customer? And in my head, I'm just like, oh man, I really need a shit.
G'day guys, Yeeks here. You're listening to Salt Shakers. Stay salty and stay Yeeks.
Hey guys, it's Dave from Standing Fierce.
Hey yo, this is Ghost Chips. Hey, this is Sky.
Hey, this is Iron Soul.
Kia ora, this is Wazo.
This is Simp, and you're listening to the Salt Shaker Podcast.
You're listening to the Salt Shaker Podcast.